Donald Trump is about to lose control, but it's not just the Democrats who are pushing back. His own party is now joining forces with them to stop him from making a move that could completely reshape global alliances. This isn't just another political battle. This is about NATO national security and the stability of the world. In 2026, something is happening that no one expected. And if you think this is just political theater, you're wrong. Because this time, it's more than just politics. It's about our place in the world, our military, and our future. But here's the twist. Some of Trump's closest allies are starting to turn on him in ways that could change everything. What's really going on, and why should this matter to you? Stick around, because what happens next could shock you. Right now, the situation is escalating fast, and it's not something you're hearing much about in the mainstream. The latest news? A bill called the Stop the Funding of the NATO Invasion Act has just been introduced in the House. Yes, you heard that right. A bill to stop Trump from using U.S. federal funds to go to war against NATO. Now, this isn't just another typical political move. This is about a real threat. Trump, once again, pushing for military action against our allies, and not just anyone. This time, it's Greenland. But here's where it gets complicated. Even Republicans are getting on board with this. Why would they risk angering their own party's leader? And what does it mean for the future of NATO? If this passes, Trump's entire strategy could unravel, and with it, the entire fabric of our military alliances. But what does it signal about the state of global power? What happens if they succeed in stopping him? This could be a turning point in how the world views America. The claim is bold. Trump wants to take military action against Greenland, a NATO ally. And yet, here's where things take a strange turn. A bipartisan group of lawmakers, including Republican Don Bacon, are working with Democrats to stop him. This isn't just politics as usual. It's a full-on intervention to block Trump from using military force against an ally. In fact, the bill specifically says that any military action against Greenland would be illegal without congressional approval. But that's not all. The bill also targets the funding. No federal money can be used for military operations there. And that, my friends, could change everything. Trump's ability to act without oversight would be completely cut off. What does this mean for his presidency and the way the U.S. engages with the world? Notice what's missing here. There's no talk of negotiation, no diplomatic alternatives. It's all about military power, and a group of Republicans is pushing back. Why? Because they know what's at stake. This isn't just about Greenland. It's about a massive shift in global power dynamics. As the situation intensifies, it's clear this isn't just a one-off incident. This is part of a pattern we've seen over the years. Trump's repeated attempts to undermine the very alliances that have kept the world stable. Take NATO, for example. It's been the backbone of global security since the end of World War II, yet Trump's rhetoric and actions have slowly chipped away at it. The threat to Greenland isn't an isolated move. It's the latest in a long line of efforts to weaken America's relationships with its allies. And the stakes have never been higher. This isn't just about a political fight. It's about whether or not the U.S. can maintain its position as the leader of the free world. What's happening now is unprecedented. For the first time in decades, the very idea of NATO's unity is being questioned, and it's happening under the watch of an American president in 2026 who has shown no hesitation in risking everything. But here's the thing. This isn't just a game for Trump. This has real-world consequences, and it's setting the stage for a much bigger conflict. What happens next could redefine the future of international relations. The stakes just got even higher. We're not just talking about diplomatic fallout. We're talking about the real consequences of ignoring global alliances, and this is where the story takes a darker turn. The bill introduced to stop Trump's Greenland plan doesn't just target military funding. It's about something much more serious. It specifically makes it illegal for military officers to follow orders to invade Greenland. Imagine that. A U.S. military officer following an order from the president would be breaking the law. This is a game changer. No longer can Trump simply issue an order and expect it to be followed. The system itself is pushing back, with legal implications that could cripple his military ambitions. And here's where it all flips. This isn't just about Trump's ego or political maneuvering anymore. It's about the very integrity of the military and the chain of command. What happens if this bill passes? It would mean that even Trump's closest allies in the military would be forced to defy him. A president who's already teetering on the edge of losing control, this could be the blow that forces him to rethink his strategy entirely. Now, things are moving at lightning speed. Just as the legislation begins to take shape, a series of rapid developments threaten to spiral out of control. The pressure on Trump is mounting. On one hand, you've got Republicans in Congress pushing back against his actions. On the other, military officers are being told to disregard orders. But that's not all. In the Senate, another bill is emerging. This one focuses on limiting any further military action in Venezuela without explicit approval from Congress. And as if that wasn't enough, the Pentagon is already investigating one of their own senators, Mark Kelly, for telling military officers not to follow illegal orders. The ripple effects of this unprecedented pushback could send shockwaves through the entire military-industrial complex. What happens if this keeps up? The risk is clear. If Trump can't act without legal constraints, the entire agenda could start to unravel. And the chaos isn't just political, it's deeply personal for the men and women in uniform who are now caught in the crossfire. This is where the story could break wide open. And at this point, it's not just the politicians and military leaders who are feeling the pressure, it's everyday people like you who are starting to see the fallout. Imagine waking up one morning and realizing that the stability you've always taken for granted is slipping away. The stakes of a potential military conflict aren't just abstract anymore. They could be real, and they could affect your life. If this goes forward, it won't just be about what happens in Washington or on military bases. It's about the ordinary citizens who could be caught in the crossfire of a war with NATO or a new Cold War with Russia and China. And here's the kicker. This isn't just about war. It's about the trust we place in our leaders and the systems we rely on to keep us safe. If this kind of power grab succeeds, it sets a dangerous precedent for the future. Think about it. If we're willing to let one president get away with this, what's to stop future leaders from doing the same? If this feels familiar to you, if you're starting to see the pieces fall into place, say so in the comments. Let's talk about how this could affect all of us. This isn't just about Trump. This is about the systems that allow this kind of unchecked power to exist in the first place. Think about it. How can one man with minimal oversight challenge decades of diplomatic and military relationships without consequence? The truth is, this situation is the result of a larger, deeper issue, one that has been brewing for years. It's about incentives, it's about power, and it's about fear. You see, Trump isn't acting alone. There are systems in place, economic, political, and military, that give him the leverage to push this agenda forward. The real question is, what happens when those systems break down? This bill, this pushback, it's not just a response to one man. It's a sign that the gears of government are starting to grind against a president who's been able to manipulate them for far too long. And that's a problem not just for Trump, but for the entire framework of global politics. The military-industrial complex, the media, and even Congress have all been complicit in letting this go on. Now, for the first time, we're seeing pushback in places where it was once unimaginable. This could be the beginning of something bigger than we realize. As we look ahead, there are two paths this could take. The first path, the bill passes, and Trump's ability to act unilaterally is severely restricted. The military is forced to stand down, and the pressure from both sides of the aisle keeps him in check. In this scenario, America could begin to recalibrate its global position, reasserting its role as a leader of allies rather than acting as a rogue state. But that doesn't mean the danger is gone. Trump's hold on his base is still strong, and any attempt to limit his power could fuel more resistance from the people who support him. The second path, Trump doubles down. He disregards the bill, pushes forward with his military goals, and risks further alienating NATO allies and even members of his own party. If this happens, we're looking at a potential global conflict that could change everything. It's unclear which direction this will take, but one thing is certain: this is just the beginning. And the next few moves could determine the course of history. In the end, this whole situation may come down to one question: how far is too far when it comes to challenging global alliances? If this moment in history has taught us anything, it's that the risks of unchecked power are far greater than most realize. If Trump's move on Greenland succeeds, it sends a signal that the U.S. can act alone, disregarding decades of diplomatic stability. But if the pushback succeeds, it shows the world that the checks and balances of democracy still have power. This isn't just about one president. It's about the future of international relations, the strength of alliances, and the integrity of the systems that hold us all together. As we move forward, one thing's for sure, we haven't seen the last of this conflict. The question is, will the next moves be enough to preserve the world we know? Stay tuned, because this story is far from over. And for more analysis on this unfolding crisis, make sure you follow for updates.